Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm continuing on with my gay movie marathon and I'm up to the 2013 film Leather. Now, you'd think a gay film with the name Leather would have something to do with the leather community or some fetish element. No, I don't know why they picked this name. It is a total waste of the copyright, really. But the film itself is good. It's a film about... who's it about, really? It's a very common story. There seems to be a couple of gay stories. One is, living in a small town and getting out and going to the city and finding a community, or once you've been out in that community, going back home. And this is another one of those back home stories. So this guy, Andrew, his father dies, and he goes back to sort out the cabin that he sort of inherited. And he finds this guy, Birch, they used to be friends, who's living there. And apparently they had some sort of relationship. His father and him had some sort of relationship. He's there with his boyfriend Kyle, who is a bit of a Twinkie queen, a bit of a stereotype, and it's kind of clear that this guy lives like a mountain man. He's got he's just that sort of stereotype, and he's got the beard and everything, and it's sort of obvious that the two guys are going to get together because they're both masked, and the boyfriend is like a little twink, and he does sort of get written off stereotypically, and it's a bit of a gay male fantasy where the masculine butch, straight acting guys end up together and blah blah, and it's always sort of a bit misogynistic with how they portray the more feminine gay guy. So I didn't really appreciate that in the film, but they just have a lot of bad exchanges and so forth, and then eventually they get drunk, skinny dip, and end up hooking up and end up back together. They were friends when they were young, and they do sort of talk quite a lot about the father, because the father had a horrible relationship with the son, yet he had this great relationship with his friend that I think turned sexual. I think he does actually ask him, and they did, but he doesn't sort of like terms. He's very much not a part of the community, very much not it's a bit condescending to the gay community in general, in like this guy who lives out in the woods and doesn't identify as anything, and he's not gay, but he's not straight, but he's masculine, but it's just, yeah, I don't really like the character. And I didn't really appreciate the fact that Andrew cheated on him, on Kyle and that. Now, Kyle's in trouble because he stole some money stole about $20,000 worth of, I guess, clothes from some sort of fashion show or something, or fashion designer he was working for. So he's sort of, his name is sort of mud at the moment, and he's sort of gone away with his boyfriend to work out this house thing, sort of to get away from the city and away from the rubbish that he's in. They meet a couple of local people. They don't really get that involved, except maybe for this older lady called Mary who does like puppet therapy, and he does a puppet show on how bad the relationship between Andrew and his father was, which Birch sort of suggested, and that's where things actually go wrong early on, and he actually punches Birch out and tells him to get out of the house and so forth. Eventually, I think they end up leaving the house for Birch to rent and live in, and that, and then Kyle goes back to the city on his own, which he's quite happy to do. I'm like, yeah, how convenient for you to go away like that. And then the two guys just stay in the woods living together in this cabin, being all naked and straight acting, and like they're always like nude, like, running around the forest and like skinny dipping. And there's a weird scene where they've got like tree branches for antlers, and they've got leaves and that around them, like it's just weird. Like they're drunk on some mountain drink someone made and left for the guy. So I don't know if they're supposed to be totally out of it or not, but I don't know. The overall production of the film was good. The there's a couple of scenes. The guy, the boyfriend Kyle, brought a rabbit with him, and the dog chases the rabbit into the woods, and he's freaking out, really over the top freaking out. And then it happens twice, and I'm like, there's no way that would happen twice. And like so there's a few scenes that don't really work, and just the representation of Kyle's being over the top and a twink who can't take care of himself, and like the other guy is the man. It was a little bit misogynistic and condescending. You do find that a bit in the gay community in some gay films. This is probably the worst example of it, but I still kind of liked it. I don't know, the more I talk about it, the more I'm realising it wasn't that great. But would I watch it again? Probably not, but I did kind of enjoy it on some level. I don't know. I'm a bit mixed, actually, the more I think about it, but I'm over 5 minutes. I'm going to stop. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the film if you saw it. I guess I can recommend it. It's kind of interesting, but it's got some negative points. It's got some positive points too. Probably more negative. I don't know. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I think that's my official stance is it's okay, but you don't need to see it.